Albert Einstein is undoubtedly the greatest scientist of the 20th century. He revolutionized physics with his theory of relativity and won the Nobel Prize in 1921. For a scientist, Einstein's popularity was unparalleled. The kind of mass following that Einstein commanded within and outside the scientific community is unheard of even today. A true genius that he was, a lot of his popularity can also be attributed to his unusual lifestyle and quirky habits. Here are some unusual facts about the genius. Einstein was born with such an enormous head that his mother thought he was deformed. Einstein's head, in fact his brain, has been a source of curiosity for the scientific community for a very long time. After Einstein's death, scientists revealed that he did have a larger head than the average human being. One study also claims that Einstein's parietal lobe, responsible for mathematical thought, was 15% larger than the average person's. Einstein's brain was stolen. After Einstein died in Princeton Hospital on April 18, 1955, Thomas Harvey, the pathologist who did his autopsy, took his brain without permission. He was fired for refusing to return the brain. He kept it for over 40 years before finally returning it in 1998. Harvey also removed Einstein's eyeballs and gave them to Henry Abrams, the physicist's eye doctor. They remain to this day in a safe in New York. He was a quiet kid. Einstein's speech development was significantly delayed. He didn't begin speaking until the age of 4. According to some accounts, he mumbled to himself until he was about 9 years old. He is said to have finally broken the silence by telling his parents, "The soup is cold." When asked why he hadn't spoken before, he replied that everything had been fine until then. Economist Thomas Sowell later coined the term Einstein syndrome for exceptionally bright people who have early problems with speech. Love for music. Apart from being a brilliant scientist, Einstein also had a flair for music. His mother was an accomplished pianist and taught Einstein to play the piano and violin. As a teenager, he developed a love for the violin. Einstein loved the works of Bach and Beethoven. However, his favorite was Mozart. He called Mozart a musical physicist. He frequently played classical music as a brainstorming technique while working on his scientific theories. Other passion. His other great passion in life was sailing. Although he didn't know how to swim, it didn't stop him from sailing. He thoroughly enjoyed it. He accomplished some of his most important work while being on sailing vacations. Hatred for socks. Another quirky fact about the legendary scientist was that he hated wearing socks. Einstein was also very proud that he never wore socks. In a letter he once wrote, "Even on the most solemn occasions, I got away without wearing socks and hid the lack of civilization in high boots." Entrance exam failure. In 1895, at the age of 17, Einstein applied for admission into Swiss Federal Polytechnical School. While he passed the math and science sections, he failed in history, languages, geography, etc. He failed that year and had to retake the exam a year later. Over 100 years later, it now seems impossible that a university rejected one of the greatest minds in human history. Another strange fact is that Einstein couldn't get a job in academia for almost a decade. Young Einstein had to settle for a clerical job because no academic institution would hire him. Although his professors knew him to be brilliant, they also saw him as rebellious and unruly, thus refusing to recommend him for various positions. Nobel Prize. The most interesting aspect of Einstein's scientific work was that he never won the Nobel Prize for his general and special theory of relativity, both of which account for much of his stardom even today. Instead, he won the 1921 Nobel for his work on the photoelectric effect. Presidential offer. In 1952, Einstein passed on an offer to become the President of Israel. Israel's first president, Chaim Weizmann, often referred to Einstein as the greatest Jew alive, and asked Einstein if he would be willing to lead the nation. However, Einstein refused by saying, "All my life I have dealt with objective matters. Hence I lack both the natural aptitude and the experience to deal properly with people and to exercise official functions." Hitler's role. Hitler played a huge role in Einstein leaving his homeland. In 1933, just 1 month after Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, Einstein came to the United States and never looked back. Knowing that Germany was no longer a safe place for Jews, he never again returned to his country of birth.